Any opposed? Cool. Thank you very much. On to item 13. Got Ryan. Oh, Ryan, kia ora. And Warren, did you want to come up just for old time's sake?
My name is Ryan Bradley. I'm a senior policy planner in the Plans and Places team. No, sorry, we're now called the Planning and Resource Consents Department. This is a fairly procedural item. It's about Plan Change 92 and making it operative. You'll see on the slide, this is Wellsford. It's that the red lines show State Highway 16, State Highway 1. The black line is the railway. And these are the current unitary plan zonings for Wellsford. So this plan change seeks to rezone around 75 hectares of land in the north of Wellsford. And a large chunk of that you can see is already future urban, which is that yellow zone. So what the plan change has done is add a new neighbourhood centre, some mixed housing, suburban around it, some large lot in the southern area where it was countryside living, that's some steeper land, and then the majority is rezoned to single house. And then right in the north, there's a small bit of land that's currently rural production that's zoned to countryside living. So it was notified with 50 submissions received. It had its hearing late last year, and the hearings independent commissioners have approved it, and there have been no appeals to it. So this plan change is now at the point where it can be made operative.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we're at the, as you know, with the operatives, we're at the end of the process. Is there any questions? Councillor Sayers?
Yeah, just a question around any other plan changes that back onto that. Are there any other submissions? Any other plan changes that not relate to, but in that area that are being processed at the moment?
So there are no current other plan changes in Wellsford at the moment, but there was a submission on this plan change by a landowner, which is this Pointer? I'm not sure if this. No. Oh, I don't know what I've done there. But basically, on the other side of the state highway, there's a landowner with a large area of land that's currently countryside living, and they submitted on this plan change, alluding to them wanting to lodge a plan change to rezone their area from countryside living to some sort of urban, but that hasn't been formally lodged yet.
Thank you. Councillor Walker.
Clarify that the total trees that are identified will be protected. I note that they're in the vicinity of the stream. Just want some clarification there.
Yes, they will be. So there is a precinct plan which identifies the total trees. On that plan, there are provisions around retaining those when the development occurs.
Okay, and the other, well, I don't know how to phrase this, but I'd just like to commend Warren, who's here for his outstanding work for the council. I don't know whether Warren wants to respond to that by way of question, but I'm just acknowledging that now through you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. It's your slightly off topic, but if you wanted to say any last words, Warren.
I don't think that's an appropriate comment. He's going to be around for some time.
Should we finish this one first?
Sure. We'll take it off. Was there another question, Councillor Sayers? No. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, there was. I forgot to ask it, and that was just around the local board feedback and the attachments. I just note the board sought, amongst other things, that the development is timed so it is not to be unmanageable pressure on existing Wellsford wastewater and water treatment plants, and integrated stormwater planning for the drainage and the sub-catchments be completed before any development occurs. What guarantees do we get around that or any comment you have around ensuring that happens, right?
So what we have in the precinct is some specific rules around all the infrastructure that needs to service this before it's able to be developed. And Watercare was a submitter on this, and they were opposing the way that the provisions were originally written. But then they did come to an agreement with the applicant around basically saying you can't do any development in here except for that large light yellow zone, which doesn't require wastewater or water, but the rest of it wouldn't be allowed to proceed until there was water from Watercare servicing that area.
Thank you for that. And what about the comments around the drainage? What were they getting at there, and any comment around healthy waters?
I can't recall in terms of their submission on the comments on the drainage, but that again was something that is covered in the precinct. There's some pretty specific stormwater provisions in there.
Thank you. I think that's all the questions. I'll just, who would like to move? Councillor Sayers, seconder. Councillor Baker. All those in favour? And before you leave the table, just further on from Councillor Walker, just want to acknowledge Warren, obviously Shore Boy and coastie in later years. But your first big job was at the Northland Harbour Board in Whangarei, then of course at the Northland Regional Council, Manager of Planning and Policy for 5 years, then Chief Executive for 10, then the Director of Strategy at Rodney District Council. You're obviously part of the transition to the Super City and have been here ever since, initially as the Manager of Operative Plans, and then your current role as Manager of Planning for Northwest. I was honoured to be able to speak at your leaving morning tea the other day and acknowledge that the room was pretty packed. It was in this room, actually, and so many people will miss and we'll miss you, but appreciate everything you've done for the city, for planning, for the environment, for us trying to understand many of the complex issues that we need to understand and get our communities to understand. But yeah, we are going to miss you, and I know you're going to have a good time in retirement and travelling and hanging out with Sally and Kate and Amy, who were there the other day quite proudly hearing about all your achievements with you that you've led and your team has worked on. So just want to acknowledge you, Warren. I know there might be another couple of councillors who might want to add something. Councillor Watson.
I think probably Warren will be uncomfortable with this attention, and I think that's a reflection of the character. I, like my colleague, have been fortunate to know Warren from the Legacy Council, and as you may surprise you, that we have often been on the other side of the ledger of various issues, but Warren is the one person who has always been very approachable, very honest, and a man of real integrity, and I certainly would like to thank him for all the assistance he's given us over many years. So thank you, Warren, and I wish you all the best for the future.
Do you want anything else?
Or if I can just join to those comments, and I endorse everything that John said. I was a Rodney District Councillor for 10 years. I think you were there for quite a few of those 10 years in Rodney, if I recollect, Warren, and then of course through to this council. And I'd also like to emphasise that it's always been possible to have a chat with you and to acknowledge that often you're engaged with some issues, planning issues that were fraught. They were difficult. Some of them took quite some time to settle, and I think you were always methodical and diligent in terms of your approach, and also able to communicate with the community and win a significant amount of trust. So I certainly value the relationship with you, and you know, I'm sure that you're still going to be around, maybe up on the Hibiscus Coast. So if we bump into you, so much the better. Thank you.
Thank you. Just two more speakers, Councillor Darby and then Councillor Sayers.
Yeah, thanks, Warren. Been a very long innings. I know where you came from Legacy. Look, I've dealt with you for a very long time, and I've always enjoyed posing the problem to you rather than trying to pose the solution. And I think that's a space that you really operate well in, like taking the problem and going, okay, the politicians pose this to me, and then coming back not with a solution, but like this is how we could approach it. And the solution comes out of a conversation. And I can remember a number of things. I can remember you assisting with NZTA Wakakatahi on the interchange at Constellation there, the new project. And I was pushing for, well, why are we going to be building this incredible superstructure that's going to obliterate the environment here as NZTA? And they came back and said, oh, there's a cable in the way. And then I think you found, well, there's actually not a cable in the way. So we politely told them there wasn't a cable in the way. So they sort of went away. And eventually it was an underpass without all this big, expensive, obstructive superstructure that the Totara Vale community would, they wouldn't see the Rosedale Ponds for it. And we just pushed in politely with NZTA, and unbeknownst to us, there was a consultant who came up and said, no, this is how you do it. This is like Auckland Council said a year earlier. There are numerous examples like that where, you supported the politicians, me and Richard and others, in looking for solutions. And I always appreciated your approach of hunting down solutions through, different avenues. And look, no politician can appreciate a staff member more than the ones that go into bat for you. And you certainly did. So thanks for the massive contribution, not just to me as an elected member, but, to our communities, the communities that we represent, and all the solutions out there that you've contributed to and are now been built and will continue to last and live for lots of people. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Sayers.
Yeah, thank you. Warren, I'd just like to say a few words, obviously wishing you and your family all the best in your retirement. But, you obviously cover the now Rodney ward as well. And my experiences with you that I'd like to share with my colleagues has been a slightly different angle, though I endorse everything that's been said by my colleagues, around public engagement and your ability to appear, at a public engagement event, and some of them are often heated, and your professionalism, your acting as a gentleman, acting professionally has often diffused situations, and we've been able to move forward and take the community forward, and that's been through your own natural talents and abilities, Warren, and they have not got on notice, and I'm glad I've got a chance to mention them now. Related to that is probably your involvement that I've seen outside of just planning, but with the Rural Advisory Panel as well, and how you've been able to understand the rural needs, but again, just emphasising how your approach and your way of collaborating and involving and bringing people along with you has certainly helped that panel to have results and move forward. And I'm really talking about how you've influenced and given confidence to the participants. And I guess that's what I'm saying about the public engagement as well. So it's very much appreciated, Warren. Again, I wish you all the very best, and I'm sure I'll see you around the traps. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those contributions, and I'm sure you another day of it, Warren. And I did mention the other day speaking on Tuesday that thank you for the late night emails and phone calls, and then you emailed me that night at 9:20 p.m. So I know that many staff like yourself go out of your way to help us, even well outside what the hours you're supposed to be working. If you want to have a right of reply, you don't have to, of course, but if you'd like to say anything your last time around the committee table.
Yes, thank you for that, Chair, and thanks for those comments. I guess I've been lucky enough to be one of the planning managers since this council started in 2010. And it certainly had its challenges, and in the early days, all that idea of bringing all the, I can't remember, 11 or 12 different plans together eventually into nearly one. We've still got Hauraki Gulf Island separate, but to bring all of that into one plan was a labour of energy from dozens and dozens and dozens of planners, and a lot of time from councillors as well. And yet we did it looking towards the future. And I was only just saying to my staff this morning, you know, you guys should be really proud of the way that you are trying to shape Auckland for the future. And it's interesting that both councillors and staff believe in that sort of work, and everyone's got a slightly different view, but we believe in it because we think it's best for Auckland, and that we individually can make a bit of a difference. And it's when it's collective that it really all happens. And I'm really, if I was staying, I would be really excited about the prospect of these new city deals and different ways of planning for Auckland that the government looks as though they're bringing to us. So I think there's a really exciting time going ahead. I thank you for all the support you've given me, and I'm sure you'll continue with it, because this is a pretty vibrant organisation, and in this room, matters that get debated are nearly always matters that are really quite important at the local level, and you should, I guess you should be pleased that that's the way it's going, and you should be congratulated, because they're a good, it's a great way this organisation has of moving ahead. I did say at my speech the other day, which was, I was just reflecting that I think I've been doing council agendas, council reports for over 40 years now, and that sounded really depressing when when I said that. Yeah, since Richard was not, sorry, Mr. Chair. And I even confessed that I had organised our wedding for in between particular meetings and all this sort of thing, which my wife has never let me entirely forget. But you can rest assured that by the time you come to the next planning committee meeting, I will be somewhere on my paddleboard going out from Red Beach, maybe north, maybe south as the current goes. And I'll be really enjoying that, and I will not have prepared a single paper. So thank you very much.
Mr. Chair, I know we have an item here. I think we should move and second and vote on it. But I think if you agree and the room agrees, we should have an acknowledgement as a different part of the agenda. Yeah, thank you.
Even though it happened halfway through, we'll have it at the beginning of the minutes, a formal acknowledgement. So thanks, Warren, for your 40-ish years of service to. Thank you. Right, back to business. We'll move to item 14. Councillor Walker. Move. Seconder, Councillor Dalton. All those in favour? Summary of Policy and Planning Committee information. Deputy Mayor, move. Deputy Chair, second. All those in favour? Oh, sorry.
That's the Forward Work Programme as well, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Just on that, look, I had feedback. I raised a question with Megan on the issue of overheated, particularly apartment buildings. It's a real issue at the moment, a very real issue. And I've had a response from you, Megan, saying this can be addressed through, the Auckland Design Manual, etc., but not necessarily through an Auckland Unitary Plan variation. But what I do read is that the Auckland Unitary Plan does talk about sunlight access, but it doesn't talk about the protection of excessive sunlight. So it does appear to be an Auckland Unitary Plan issue. Now, this is a problem. People are living in unbearable new apartments in some parts of Auckland. So we are incentivising sunlight access, and in doing so, we're achieving that, but we're actually overheating apartments. So my question to you, Chair, at this stage, because we are talking about the forward work program, is do we need to identify it on the forward work program as a variation to the Auckland Unitary Plan? Because the way I read it, we're encouraging sunlight access, but we're not saying you also need to protect from sunlight access and incentivise cross ventilation.
Thanks, Councillor. I'll get Megan to comment as well. Yeah, we have addressed. We have asked for it to be part of the Unitary Plan review, which starts next year, but also I have spoken to Minister Pink, because it is at this stage a building act. Well, that would be the easiest way, and he's looking at. He said not the ways to do it, but the outcomes. So the more around the outcomes and letting it up to, say, design manual and others to give ideas. But Megan, do you have the comment?
Thanks, Councillor Darby. I do really appreciate your continued questioning on this. We do have guidelines, as you know, in the Auckland Design Manual. They are best practice. There could be more that we could do, though. So we are looking at whether that's updating or bringing some sense of options to you around what we can do better in this area. It does touch on the building code as well, the Building Act. So to the Chair's point, we have been talking to officials in MB about that as well. So thank you. It is on our radar. It's probably not happening as quickly as you'd like, but we are looking at whether there's some additional guidelines and other things we can bring through to you to assist in the issue as well.
Okay, so we can quite quickly at least get the guidance document, that is the design manual, through the Urban Design Unit updated. That's not a mammoth effort, because the industry knows the problem and the design community knows the solutions. And at the same time, we can look at flood resilient design as well, which we mentioned at a workshop recently. I mean, that should be straightforward as well. But I don't think we can wait for the Auckland Unitary Plan review. It's a dire situation where people are buying apartments and they do not know how hot they are.
We're not waiting for that. So it will be, if there's a plan change, then possibly there's no resource, so we'll have to be for that. But the Minister's confirmed they are looking at that right now, and we will look at what we can do.
Look at the ADM as well. Yep.
Well, yeah, if we've heard that before, ministers are looking at it. I can look at something for years. It's about actually when, because it's costing people, miserable lives.
Yeah, no, I think the discussion document is already out. So he was criticised at the time for talking about insulation, and everyone thought it was meaning he was going to reduce insulation requirements, but that wasn't the case. But
Okay, I'll keep an eye on it.
I hear that.
Councillor Bartley.
Oh, thank you. I just wanted to say thank you, Councillor Darby, for raising this, because not just people who have bought houses that are in this situation, the apartments, it's also a lot that are in kainga ora tamaki housing, and already there's stories coming out of people who are elderly who have fainted, passed out because the bathrooms are upstairs, and also young babies, issues with the babies and the overheating. So it's quite a widespread issue now that we're intensifying the whole city, and a lot of people have to live in this kind of way. So thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lee.
I hear Councillor Darby's concerns about adequate sunlight. I think it's a very important matter. I heard just recently that the
the new building, which is to replace the downtown car parking building, which the council voted to sell last year, or was it the year before? Anyway, that is so high. Well, there are two buildings actually. They are so high that they will cast a shadow over Albert Park in winter, and evidently some parts of the year over Victoria Park. Just saying. Thank you.
All those in favour? Any opposed? No. Now we close the meeting. Sorry. All right. Unuhia, unuhia, unuhia. Ke rutapanui, ke wātea, ke mama, te nākau, te tinana me te wairua, e te ara takatu, koia e rongo. Whakaaria ake ki runga, ka tina. Homie huie tae ki e. Thank you very much and have a good day, all done by 12:30. Thank you. Oh, there are also